Hello. Hey, ladies. How are you all? I hope you're doing good. It's been a little minute, but I'm super duper excited for our live stream today. Your girl was sick, okay, but I'm back. And today we are talking about what it takes for Black women to really feel like they have what it takes, all of the taking, to land the dream job or to exist in the dream job that we really want. So, for a lot of us, our mindset is something that will hold us back from really doing what we want to do in our career, from being excited, passionate, whatever we want fulfilled, all of the things in our career. And so that's what we're talking about. It's all about mindset today. Hey, Tammy, let me know if I'm saying your name right. I hope I am. Welcome into the live. Good evening. Super excited that you're here. But yeah, so that's what we're talking about. And I promoted this, I talked about it as the fact that I get to talk to so many beautiful Black women who are either, really thinking about advancing their career, or they feel like they're kind of struggling in a space to feel comfortable to move forward. And across those calls, I noticed a couple things, okay, about how our mindset impacts what we do and how we move forward in our career. Hey, Regine, welcome. Welcome into the live. I'm super excited you're here too. Let me get to my friends on TikTok. I totally forgot. I mean, I didn't forget about my friends on TikTok, but I need to open up the chat so I can see y'all. So if you're saying hello to me, I'll be on just a minute on TikTok. Sorry. But anyway, so today we're talking all about the mindset differences that as Black women, we really need to embrace and to think about so that it's not impeding or holding our careers back. So that's what we're talking about today. And I want you to know, like, a lot of this, you might be coming here thinking about, like, oh, I'm going to learn a hard skill. I'm going to learn this tangible thing. That's really not what we're doing today. We can always talk about professional development, but we're talking specifically about mindset today and how that impacts our careers. Okay. So if you're new here, hey, Nicole, welcome in. Super excited to see you back on the live, girl, because I'm here. I survived the sickness. So I'm glad I'm here. Okay. So if you don't know me, I'm new to you. You're new to me. Of course, say, hey, girl, hey, I love to be connecting and chatting. I'm not on. I don't know what's going on with TikTok. One second. Oh, there it is. Okay. I was like, it says I'm not live on TikTok. I was like, something's gone wrong. Okay. So, hey, fam on TikTok. Sorry if I missed your comments and stuff. Love y'all. Love y'all so bad. Okay. So, if you don't know me, I'm new to you. My name is Mercedes Swan. I go by the Career Love Coach. I am a career coach specifically for Black women because it's important for me to really talk about the unique challenges that we have, not just in our careers, but also for business. So I'm a career and business coach. And my goal in this life, and I'm sure the next lives after this, is to support Black women in creating careers, businesses, and lifestyles that we really love. And so I host the Clock Out. It's my live stream to just talk about what's going on. So as you go today, just know, as you join me today, just know that this is very much an open dialogue and open discussion. I want to know what you all came here to learn, what you're looking to get out of this, and just engage in conversation with you all. So I'm excited that you all are here. Oh, thank you, Nicole. I'm glad you're feeling good. I miss these streams, okay? Your girl is struggling. I was upset too because I was in productivity heaven. I was getting some stuff done. Hey, Michael, welcome to the live. And I was upset about being sick. The productivity, the toxic productivity, I wasn't there, but I was upset. So, okay. All right. So if you're here, let me know. Say hello in the comments. But I really want to know what's something that you feel like is a barrier in your career right now. So is it, access to promotions? Is it support? Is it mentoring? Is it the job market? Is your resume? These are all some of the things that I've heard, and we'll talk about some of those today. But I would love to know from you right now in the comments, what do you feel like is a barrier that you're currently facing in your career? I would love, love, love to know. Also, as we're going, your likes and your shares absolutely help this live perform successfully. Hey, Felicia. Hey, girl. It helps the live. So definitely share, like, comment, and engage. It means a lot. Okay, so if you joined a little bit late, you don't know what we're talking about. We're about to get right into content. I'm not playing around. We are talking about kind of this idea or a philosophy of how a Black woman looks at advancing, right? And ultimately, these are the mindset shifts that I think Black women who are advancing kind of embody and embrace in their career. It doesn't mean that everything is perfect. It doesn't mean that they don't sometimes doubt themselves or they lack confidence. That is not what it is. It's just a way of thinking about our job search and our careers, right? And we'll talk about all of those things today. Okay, so we got them coming in. So Tammy says my resume. Regine says promotions. Okay, yes. Tell me more if there's more. But love to see that. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna share the live to the girlies on TikTok. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I noticed is it is kind of mindset block if you really think about it, and it can honestly be impacted by our resume and our promotion. So I'll tie those in since I know that those are some of the things that you're looking at specifically. But the first one is external validation. So a lot of times in our careers, if we know in many ways what we really want to do in our career, right? Whether that's get that promotion, get that particular job, get whatever that ideal state that we think will give us a better opportunity for however we want to exist and we want to live. A lot of times we look externally outside of ourselves for confirmation that we can really do that. And so what I'll see common is, blaming the job market. And I don't mean this to gaslight you. The job market is terrible. Okay. I can do a whole live about how terrible the job market is right now. But again, we can't control the job market. And then we use that as a reason for not taking action, right? So it sounds like, oh, well, I can't even, go get my resume updated or fixed, or I can't re-tailor my resume because it doesn't even matter anyway. I'm never going to get that job. And again, this is the mindset of things, right? We're going to talk about the action of things too, but that is kind of that mindset that will hold you back, right? So it's like it's almost like you're looking for evidence out there that says that you can't do what you want to do, right? And so that's what that external validation as a mindset kind of impacts. A lot of times we're looking for that mentor. Got you, Tammy. Please talk about ATS friendly resumes. Will do. Okay, I'm going to start this so I come back. And then while I finish talking, so Nicole said it's not safe out here for Black women. They play in your face and gaslight you to think you just aren't ready for the next step. Yeah. So I'm going to actually keep this up while I talk about the next thing because I was about to move. Charla, hey girl, hey. Hey on TikTok. Hey girl. Ooh, excuse me. So that other piece of validation is that mentor or that boss. We are looking for somebody to validate that we can do what we want to do. So I think about this when I first, talking about promotions, right? When I first moved into management, I did not wait for anybody to validate that I was capable of being a manager, right? I had gone through experiences of formally and informally managing others. They were smaller, like it was an intern, an assistant, those types of things that typically, hey, Coach Matt, how are you? We see things. Thanks for the likes. I appreciate you. My mom's been talking about you, Coach Matt. Welcome in. Oh, and thanks for the gifts. Coach Matt is distracting me. Thank you. Hey, Candy, welcome into the live. And hey, Natasia, welcome in on LinkedIn. Good to see you. Okay, so those mentors, right? We're expecting those individuals to give us the authorization to go into that situation where we're getting that promotion, right? And so a lot of times we're looking for them to say, oh yeah, I think you should apply. Oh yeah, I think you should, maybe it is time for you to grow. But a lot of times it doesn't do them any good or a service to affirm you, right? Because you're going to go get the other job. You're going to ask for more money. You're going to go get that resume together. It doesn't value them. Now, true leaders, people who are really about development, I consider myself one of those people, are going to tell their people what they feel like their talents are, right? The people who were reporting to me that I felt like they were managers, they were ready for that, I hyped them up. I said, go apply for that promotion. Go do that. That's a great opportunity for you. That's what, as Black women, we want to hear, right? And it's because we know we would do that for another Black woman. We would affirm them. But very often, that's not what they're going to do, right? So you cannot allow that external validation to be the decision or the deciding factor of what you do, right? So when you talk about it being safe, when you talk about them playing in your face and that you're not ready for the next step, it's like, okay, and that has nothing to do with my progression, right? And so in that space, I was like, you know what? Because I had a mindset that said I don't need that external validation for what I need to do, where I'm going. You know what I did? I went to go ahead and apply for those management development programs, those leadership development programs, all of those things. I did that, right? I wasn't waiting for anybody to affirm that for me. So I went off, right? And so essentially, I want you to start affirming yourself. I want you to start finding the evidence that validates your own skills and experience, right? there was this lawsuit that I remember. I made a video on it. It's been a couple of years, but it was a Black woman. She was in the workplace. She found that there was an opportunity open that she was qualified for it. And she went and she applied, or she went to her manager and asked her manager, oh, should I apply for this? And the manager said, no, I don't think you're ready. And that's what we hear. Oh, you aren't ready. Thank you, Nicole. We're not ready. And so she didn't apply because she got that feedback from her supervisor. And you know what they did? They went and hired a white man that was less qualified than her into that position. So then when she got that, she went and she sued because she said, oh, I'm being discriminated against. I wasn't considered. Hey, Wildflower. Hey, girl. Hey, welcome into the live. And she essentially tried to sue for being discriminated against. And that suit was not successful because she never applied, right? I'm not saying that we want to go out there and be discriminated against, right? That is not the goal. Our goal is Black woman bliss. But what I'm trying to say here is that our action or inaction based on that external validation is what's going to hold us back. And so the solution to that is to be solution oriented and action oriented in your career, right? I'm not waiting for this manager to affirm me. Thank you for the likes. I'm not waiting for this manager to tell me or to present this promotion to me. I'm going to go get it. So that's the first mindset shift from external validation to internal validation. So if I called you out a little bit about this, let me know. And Nicole's response to this is they want to keep you doing a great job at your current level, but the moment you start your own professional development, they scrutinize your ambitions, right? And a lot of times that threatens them. Oh my gosh, it threatens them like nothing else because they're just going to assume that thank you for the likes. Y'all are so sweet on TikTok. Thank you. I can't see the likes on anywhere else. So if you are liking it otherwise, I love you too. But yeah, so that's when the triggering of them starts, right? Because suddenly you're in competition with them. And I've had a supervisor that I felt like was in competition with me. I'm like, no, if actually we work together, I can do better. You can do better. A united front, not that we're fighting upward always, right? But a united front is so powerful for us, right? Hey, Denise, welcome into the live. But yeah, it's just one of those things where, our ability to just understand how people are never going to validate us in that way is going to keep us back. So yeah, thank you. I'm glad that I'm speaking to you, Tammy. Okay. And I promise I am going to get back to the ATS thing. Okay. So the second shift is centering, right? It's this prioritization of ourselves versus our context. It's similar, but it's different, right? And so the shift here is that we have to center ourselves. We have to prioritize our passion. And so one of the things that again, these are all based on real calls with real Black women. Okay. They'll get on my call and say, well, I hear what you're saying about the passion. I hear what you're saying about what I really want to do. I was making all of these decisions based on the job market. Again, those external factors, all of these come together. They come to a head. Hey, Ku, welcome into the live. But it's like, okay, well, I know that I want that, but I'm not really sure that will work out for a career. I'm not sure that's what I want to be paid to do, or even if I can be paid to do that. So I had a recent conversation. I'm not going to put this lovely lady's business on the street, but she was like, oh, I've always wanted to do this. It's my passion to do that, but I can't be paid to do that. I cannot, people just aren't doing that. I won't be able to do that. And I said, hold up, wait a minute. Let me put some LinkedIn into it. Oh, that was corny. Come on, give me some likes for the corny. No, just joking. Hey, Bling. But so I said, well, hold on. I hear what you said you just wanted to do. Let me actually see if what you want to do is out there. And furthermore, is it in your pay range, right? So I went to LinkedIn. I typed in literally the keywords of what she told me that she wanted to do. I didn't have a job title for it. I didn't have an industry. I didn't have a field, an organization. But what I did is I typed that into the internet, or the LinkedIn search, the internet search from Beyonce's internet. Okay. And I found at least 5 positions that would be interested, that she would be interested in based on what she just told me, that's in her area and in her compensation range. Right. And so the thing that's so important about this, hey, I think you joined before. Welcome back to the live. But in that case, right, she wasn't even looking to see if her passion and what she really wanted to do was possible, because she just told herself it wasn't possible. And so if we're able to prioritize ourselves and what we're passionate about, what we really want to do, it can kind of open doors to actually explore that. But if we keep that door closed, we may never find it. And what I find often is that Black women we do know what we want to do. We're actually pretty clear on what we love doing most of the time. I'm not saying it's all the time, but we don't think that it's out there for us. We don't think it can be paid. And particularly, we often, based on society, say that passion-driven work is not work that we are able to do, right? That's for when we retire. That's for when we have enough money. That's a side project. That's a side hustle. And so we don't look at it. And now I'm not saying that if your goal is business, right? I'm obviously a person who has exited my 9 to 5 to do career coaching full time because it's my purpose and it's my passion. It's what I'm here and I'm designed to do. But I was still doing work in my 9 to 5 that was what I was designed to do, which is HR and diversity, equity, inclusion, right? And people would say, "Oh my gosh, girl, you can't do DE&I. They're laying people off. We got executive orders. We got XYZ, all of these reasons, right? External reasons as to why I shouldn't be in DE&I. But you know what I know? I know my passion, and I know that my gifts and my values and my talents are always going to make room for me to thrive and to grow. And I think ultimately me always choosing that passion has led me to be exactly where I am today, hopefully like impacting your journey and what you're doing, right? So follow it. A lot of times the shift that we have to make in this, so again, focusing on the mindset shifts, which impact the behavior of what we do. If you are in a space where you are really open to whatever it is that you can do in your career, if you are open to exploring and dreaming, then a lot of the times you can find a solution for that. So in this, we are centering ourselves and we are decentering everything else that's happening out there, right? So we're not saying like, oh, well, I need to decenter this belief that I need to have a super stable, non-passion driven job for me to make real money. That is a limiting belief. That is what society tells Black women. By the way, society doesn't tell this to white men. I'm going to say this. Society does not tell white men that they can't be an artist because it's not enough. They won't make enough money, right? I'm just putting that out there, right? But you know what Black women can't do? Oh, we have to be reasonable. Okay, we have to make the safe bet. We have things and responsibilities, right? But why can't it be both? That's my point. Okay, all right. Okay, so let me know if this also spoke to you. So let me know if you feel like you need to be better at centering yourself, centering your purpose and your passion in your decisions. Hey, designer, welcome into. Nicole said, "Preach, girl." I love preaching. Okay. So center yourself is that next shift. Okay. Oh, this one is a little bit of the external pieces as well. And so this next one is about being overly logical and overthinking things, right? So I feel like a lot of times this happens when we're considering like what's going on in the job market, right? So for instance, we could actually talk about resumes in this. I'll bring that in, Tammy. So you have to wait to the end. But a lot of times we say, "Oh, well, I can't." Aja, I know, girl. I know we had a good conversation. You can't see the TikTok comments, but Charlotte is one of my lovely clients, and she's like, "That's me," and it is, and I adore you. Okay, sorry. So she said. Okay, let me go back. Okay, overly logical and overthinking. So let's take this from a resume standpoint. I'm going to call you out, Tammy, but I am going to answer your question, I promise. So a lot of times people will come to me and they'll complain about the job market and they'll say, "I've applied to 100 jobs. I've done all of this, the XYZ, all of the things." I think it's because I don't have an ATS compliant resume. And the reality is yes, there is an ATS compliant resume. But a lot of us, it's not that as serious as we think it is. And it's been hyped up, particularly by people who do what I do, about there being some magical sauce to getting through the ATS. It's not really like that. But again, then we're overthinking, we're creating all these barriers about, well, what's going on in the job market? Well, now it's the ATS and I have to write my bullets this way. And now there's this new interviewing strategy and da-da-da-da-da-da. And oh my gosh, and they're asking for new things and the technology is ahead of me. A resume is a resume. Even if you got a resume that looks like it came from the 90s, and I promise you I've hired people. who have really bad looking resumes. Okay. I'm just saying it's all mindset, right? And so in this case, I want you to not pick the logical decision in your career that says, oh, I have to do something that's like based on my skills, right? So you might have a resume right now that's based on your existing skills, that is not based on what you feel like your purpose and your passion is in your career, right? And so because of that, we're then over analyzing all of the things. And often when we're doing that, we're actually taking ourselves out of our element, because that's not really what we want to talk about. And then we get into an interview and, oh, okay, I'm coming back. Love you, girl. Cole said that's the same conversation we had. So often we're trying to find this solution to getting out of a toxic job or a bad job market. And we're focusing on all of the different little skills that we have. When in reality, if we talked more about what our purpose and our passion is, we would be much more aligned in the way that we write our resume and the way that we present ourselves in interviews. It really is more connected than we think. And so going back to, okay, so Nancy asks, my apologies, what does the ATS stand for? You good, girl? Sorry, me and my recruiter. Sorry. So ATS is an applicant tracking system. So anytime, hey B, welcome into the live. It's good to see you. But anytime you are going through the job search and you apply to a position, your resume ends up in a system, and it's called an applicant tracking system. It's essentially what recruiters use on a regular basis to review your resume, hold your resume, move you through an application process. Yeah. So when people say they want an ATS resume, it's because some ATSs, not all of them, are pretty smart. Some of them are using AI to screen. Some of them have automatic filtering. So even though people like to talk about the ATS today, when I started my HR career in 2016, there were applicant tracking systems that were able to do that then. It's of course more sophisticated now, but the ATS has always been able to screen through this, right? And so what people are saying is that essentially a recruiter is likely going to go in and either put in a job description, put in qualifications, what they're looking for to screen a resume, and the AI is going to recommend jobs if that's the case. Or excuse me, not recommend jobs, recommend candidates or sort candidates, saying like, oh, this is your most qualified candidate, you know, your second batch, your third batch, which in all honesty is how a recruiter would typically have screened resumes as well, right? So that's what I do. I go through my whole pool. I review, we're getting off track, but that's fine. I'll come back, I promise. So I'll review the whole pool, and then I'll be like, oh, this candidate is not, hey, Aaron, this candidate is not, this is the highly qualified bucket. This is the like qualified, but not as, you know, qualified as this role. And then the candidates that are like, okay, it's not a rejection. They're not really aligned. And then usually the candidates that are not at all qualified, I would just kind of send that rejection to them. Sorry if I'm triggering you for the rejection letters. I love you. Bye. Okay. So not really bye. Okay, so in this case, right, if I'm saying like, okay, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to look for a job that I'm really, really passionate about. I love doing this, but you don't feel like it's possible. You're going to look for a job that seems possible, and you're going to talk about all of your other skills that may be in alignment, may not be in alignment. And then when you go to apply, it kind of doesn't feel right. And I mean that because it doesn't mean that there's anything maybe even wrong about how you've structured your bullets or your writing. But again, I'm saying that I think when we're out of alignment, it's kind of clear in how we talk about things. Whereas if you're excited, you love what you do, you write a really passionate resume that really hypes up your skills and your experiences. And then when you're filling out your application, has a lot of energy behind it because you're excited about this, like that is the difference, right? And so when I'm talking about when I'm getting into the specifics of an ATS resume, I'm going to get really specific. An ATS resume is, at the end of the day, an ATS compliant resume is one that a system can read. So if you have a resume that has images, or maybe it's saved as a PDF, but you can't actually control find in that, then the system cannot read your resume. So most likely the reason that your resume is being, or maybe that you feel that your resume is being automatically screened out, is because the system cannot read it. One of the easiest ways to know whether or not a system can read your resume is to literally control find it. Hey, Jasmine, thanks for the likes. Welcome into the live. Is to control find in your resume to say, oh, okay, it's got all these, it can pull up the words. The other thing is if you're applying to a job and you hit that parse function, if it actually successfully parses your resume, then you know you have an ATS compliant resume, right? Now, the bigger question of that, right, is saying, okay, now that I know that the ATS can read it, what is the recruiter actually looking for? And so if for me, right, if I'm saying I'm going into my last role was diversity, equity, inclusion, right? So if I am looking for a DEI role, then I want to make sure that I have terms like diversity, equity, inclusion, maybe training, maybe program management, things that are relevant to DEI roles that I would be interested in, or maybe creating a DEI strategy, all of those things, right? And so often recruiters are going to enter in some way, shape, or form a list of criteria that they're looking for. And so if the ATS is able to read through the resume and confirm that you've done those things, then it's more likely to put you in that top candidate kind of pipeline, whatever, grouping. Likewise, is not a lot different than if I did this manual, right? So manually, I'm still doing the same thing. I have this list of qualifications that I'm looking for in a candidate, and I'm going to check off based on where they are. I would literally have a checklist, and how many times a candidate kind of checked off all the boxes plus the minimum qualifications puts them in kind of a bucket. Okay. Sometimes there's like some specific skills that like may put that candidate, whatever. So don't get weird about like the very specific things. Sometimes the very specific things are helpful. Okay. I've gone on a rant about applicant tracking systems, which is never a good way for me to finish up a live on time. But I guess we're hanging out, which is fine. Okay. Hey, Jasmine, thank you for joining. It's so good to see you. Okay. And then I'm catching up with Tammy. So they also want you to do more than when you ask for mention. Oh, okay. I think it goes back. I think there's a variety of ways. Like some individuals, there's a lot of different things. I'm thinking of all the different ways that we can do this, but I think a lot of times, again, because Black women are triggering to others. Black women are triggering to others in the workplace, right? And so a lot of the time, but at the same time, we are often, quote unquote, the workhorses. We get the hard stuff done and we get it done better and faster, right? And so it benefits them to provide us opportunities for development to do more, but they don't want the pressure of mentoring, right? Because the pressure of mentoring is true development. And if you truly have a mentor, especially in the workplace, they're often a sponsor for you, right? Because then you're not asking questions about how to do the job. You're asking questions about how do I use this job to grow and advance? And when we tie that back to that conversation of not wanting to promote you, not wanting to pay you more, not wanting to lose you because you see your worth and you go elsewhere, I think a lot of the times that piece or that element then becomes kind of a threat to whatever they've got going on, right? You're doing a good job where you are, so they don't want to lose you doing the good job in that opportunity, right? I think it's a lot about that sponsorship of you moving forward. Now, you could also talk about that sometimes people just aren't good mentors. They don't know what it means. It's a scary word. I don't know why it seems scary, right? So honestly, what I typically recommend is a lot of time, the people who are my mentors in my life, in my career, I don't know if I've ever gone to them and formally assigned them as a mentor. They are people that provide support and guidance for me to grow and develop my career despite all of that, right? And so for the mentoring piece, what I would recommend is for you to identify people who are where you want to be. And this just build a relationship with them, right? Ask them questions about their career. Ask them how they got to a certain place, right? And I think as that relationship grows and develops and they get to know you a little bit more, that may shift, right? So kind of coaching somebody through a job versus a formal mentorship to kind of help somebody grow and develop are really two different things and skill sets. Some of it I will say is intentional, right? Like I just mentioned, but some of it is just a discomfort. So get clear about what you want and what you need to know to get there. And then you can kind of back into that. I don't want to say back into the mentorship, but kind of get what you need from that way, because that truly is what mentor is, right? Like every time I'm making a job search, I go talk to a mentor, right? And I'm not like, hey, mentor. I'm just like, hey, let you know what's going on. What do you think? A question? What are your thoughts, right? Okay. All right. So let's get back to it. So to circle back of the logical overthinking pieces, thank you so much for the likes. For the logical overthinking pieces, right? What I want to recommend is that you stop looking at every little detail in your job search, because we see those details as barriers, right? So we say, oh, I can't apply to this job because it doesn't seem right. It's something weird. And I don't know about my resume, and I don't know if I can do this, right? So it's the overthinking of every possible scenario. The time that it took to really consider that job or to really consider that action, you could have actually just done the thing and moved forward with less time and less energy spent in that. So what I want you to instead focus on is clarity in terms of what you want to do, but to not overanalyze everything in your job search, because the way that it sits right now is it's really a numbers game. And I hate to say that because that's very different than how I used to coach in the past, but to do that. So if you're in a space like you're like, hey, clarity is absolutely my thing. I have a couple things. Oops, I'm wearing shorts. Don't look at my thighs. Oh, you can see. That's good. They are short shorts. Okay. Because you just got to see the top up. I forgot to get this before live. So there's two options. So on my website, I have this career love journal. Hopefully you can see it. Okay. So this is my career love journal. And what it does is it helps you get clarity. Oh, thanks for answering, LinkedIn user. You might have joined late, but I got Nancy's. I got Nancy's applicant tracking system question. Okay, so in this, it is a journal to help you with your mindset and to help you get clarity. So this is a free resource on my website. If you want the physical one, you can purchase it. But this is going to be something that helps you get clarity. So I'd recommend that wherever you are, you just go to my website, Mercedes Swan. Oh, hey, Conchella. Welcome to the live, girls. Good to see you. It didn't tell me that it was you. I don't know why it says things and doesn't, but hey. I feel like last time you were live, it told me it was you. LinkedIn does some weird stuff. Okay. And then also, if you're like, hey, Mercedes, I would really like the opportunity to get some like professional guidance from a recruiter on where I really need to be. I do Ikigai exercises with my career coaching clients. So you'll see that there's a QR code over here, or you can go to my website to schedule a career clarity chat. So we have one free option. You can get this journal, it's free, or you can schedule a career clarity chat if you kind of want to learn. Well, the career clarity chats are free, but if you kind of want to learn more about coaching and like how that would be helpful for you, yeah, you can go to my profile to schedule something and we can kind of chat and see what might make sense where you are in your career. So yeah, go ahead and do that if you want. Hey, P Divine, welcome in. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. So essentially that one is take the logical and overthinking in away from that mindset of like, I have to think out everything before I move forward. Hey, Luxuriously Humble, what a cute name. And switch that over to saying, I'm going to get clarity about what direction I want to go in my career. And then I can rebrand everything to that, whether that's the applicant system. LinkedIn ghetto. I adore you. It is ghetto. Where's Samuel? I need to load some gifs in here. Too ghetto, too loud. Come on, LinkedIn. Okay. All right. So the next one, I love y'all. If y'all don't stop doing this, I'm going to come find you wherever you are. It's a stopgap. So it's this idea of I just have to do something right now to improve my situation, but it's not ultimately what you want to do. There's another thing that's going to connect to this, which is the next mindset shift. But a lot of us make bad career decisions. I say this with love. A lot of us make bad career decisions because we see what we do next as just a placeholder for what we really want to do. And the unfortunate part is because of how Black women are perceived and have to navigate the workplace with less resources and also that toxic job search cycle and the pet to threat scenario. There's a lot of different things, microaggression, whatever you want to call it, what we deal with. We don't often stay in a position or an opportunity as long as we think we do. And then we restart that cycle and we then move on to another job that's just as toxic because we haven't got clear about what we really want and what the difference is. And so a lot of times when I'm teaching about the toxic job search cycle, I say, hey, it's not your fault that this work environment created this scenario for you, right? But what I'm saying is that we have to be more intentional about what we're screening and evaluating and looking at when we move to our next opportunity, right? So if this is you, I don't want you to ever be in a situation where you feel like you're settling or finding a just for now job, because we continue in those just for now jobs. I do understand, and now I'm saying this with sensitivity because I know that there's a lot going on with layoffs and just insecurity and this lack of stability, in our jobs, and also what's going on in the job market where people are saying, oh, well, I was laid off and now I've been unemployed for 6 months to a year. I don't want to minimize that. But what I'm saying is, when we're in that situation, we take the logical approach, or we take the easy pivot, the stopgap, and that takes 6 months too. Right? Like, conducting that type of job search in this market could very well take 6 months, even if it's an easy pivot, something that you've already done. I know. You could be taking the same action for the same amount of time and probably more excited about the opportunities that you're applying to, and do that in 6 months as well. That is so specific to this job market, right? Again, I talk about when I started my career coaching business, I might not have given that advice. It was like, okay, get to the easy pivot and then do that. But how the job market is set up today, again, those things could be very much the same length of time. So my thoughts here is, don't think about the easy win, the quick pivot. Think about long-term what you want to do and how your next career move is going to allow you to be more strategic to where you want to be or how you want to grow. And take it from that standpoint, right? You don't have to settle to get out of a toxic job. You don't have to get a less toxic job to get out of a toxic job. You can actually just leave a toxic job and go to a positive job, right? Okay, that's the thing. Okay, so you know how this goes. Let me know if you've ever taken like the stopgap, the just for now, the settle job because you were running, right, from where you are. Let me know in the comments. I still love you. I still love you. Okay, so this next one, it's similar, but it's more along the lines of career pathing, right? So that one is very much settled in, the stopgap is very much settled, like I'm in a really bad situation most of the time. But this one is the one that says like, oh, I need to do this before I can do this, right? So we set a barrier up that says we can't do what we want to do. So the best way that I describe this is that Black women be taking side quests to do what they really want to do. That side quest could be another job. That side quest could be a qualification. That side quest could be a whole degree. Y'all be just doing all of the things, okay? And so it sounds like, oh, well, I can't move into human resources. Rhonda, that's you, girl. Okay, I love the transparency. If you've ever done this in your career, raise your hand. Okay, sorry. But like, really, like, we're gonna take the side quest, right? I really want to be in human resources, but I feel like I needed the degree. Or, oh, but I feel like I need to like move up in my current career path before I go over there because that's going to be more relevant to human resources or whatever, right? A lot of times what happens is we take the side quest and we still don't get to the real thing that we want to do. Oh no. Honestly, all my jobs have been just for now. Okay, let's work on that. I love a good side quest. I don't know, it's still saying LinkedIn user. I'm gonna assume that's you, Contrella. But no more side quests. I'm gonna have to make another shirt. I'm a Black woman who doesn't do side quests. I'm a Black woman that goes for what she wants. Okay. Okay, so if that is if it's you, Controller, I think it is. I'm about to get my PhD side quest. Honestly, I will eventually take the PhD side quests, okay? But it'll be not as a justification for what I do next. Because I too love industrial organizational psychology is what caused me to do my master's program and to move into human resources. So yeah, I don't know if you know that. But yeah. Okay, all right. But and I'm not saying that side quests like being about your education. Okay, it doesn't tell me. Okay. Okay, it makes sense. It makes sense. I know about the side quest. I was okay. I'll be hitting you up when I'm ready to start that PhD. Okay, so but to bring it back, right? It's different if the side quest is like, okay, this is something that I really want to accomplish. And for me, I do at some point want to get that PhD, but I don't think that the PhD is a qualifier for me doing what I want in human resources or business or whatever, right? And so that's the key shift of like, we're setting these barriers up that tell us we can't do, right? And so what I'll see a lot of times in human resources too is saying like, oh, well, I can't go apply for a generalist job because I haven't been a recruiter before. If you're in human resources, you're like, girl, what? Because there's nothing, even though you feel like that's a stepping stone for you, there's actually plenty of people that just go in to be a generalist if that's really what you want to do, right? I'll see it a lot of times. People like, oh, I want to move into management in this organization. I already have management experience, but I think I have to go a step down. I got to go back to, being an individual contributor so that I can go back up. And again, management experience is transferable, right? So what I want you to ask yourself is, how do I really know that I have to get this done in order to do this? Are there people around me or people in a professional setting that did this? The degree thing is the most common thing. There are plenty of people doing the job or the field or the career path that you want, but they don't have that degree. 100%, I promise you there is, right? And again, I know the job market is competitive, but one of the things that often happens with this too is that once we get that, we think it's going to be easy from there. Oh, we get that degree, everybody's suddenly going to be knocking down my door to give me this job. But when we have the lack of belief in our skill set and we believe that we're going to get it solved by this degree, we never go back to align our skill set with the job. And so then therefore, we're not aligned, and it just looks like slapping a degree that looks really nice on a resume that doesn't make any sense for the job, right? So it's always the mindset work to feel confident and clear about what we're doing as who we are right now versus whatever could be possible in the future. You got me? Okay. All right. So let me get to the comments. Okay. Same thing about a PhD too. And my jobs have been strategic. Okay. But I love that. It's a new mindset and process for me. Yes. I think what you're saying, Regina, is what I want more Black women to think about, right? It's not about just that next step. And it's hard to advance our careers if we are always just thinking about the next step and not long term, right? So to be honest, right, if I did not exit my 9 to 5, right? So I was on an HR career path, right? So I moved into management, right? The next step would have been director. In that mindset, my goal was CHRO, right? I'm an ambitious person. I'm going there. What do I need to do? Who do I need to connect to move, right? The thing about our purpose and our passion and evolving and why we have to center ourselves and how we're thinking about things is to say there was a clear moment. I missed Charlotte's comment on TikTok that says, I blame influencers or people giving so many points of view. That's very interesting. Okay, I'm coming back to that, Charlotte. Anyway, so then once I figured out really what I want to do and to do diversity, equity, inclusion, there was a period of time when I didn't center the passion, right? And I was going up through that same career path. And so even though I was being strategic, I wasn't being aligned with the career path. And so it's kind of both, right? But again, being strategic, then when I was like, oh, okay, well, I don't have to take that step back to get into D&I, right? I'm already in a manager role. Let me move over to a diversity manager role. Was able to successfully pivot. And then I was, of course, going to be more strategic about, okay, what does it take to be a chief diversity officer, right? What are the steps that I need to grow and to develop there? What are the projects? What do I need to do? Again, the clarity comes with the strategy, but it also needs that mindset to support it. So I'm not saying that to say that what you're saying isn't right. I'm just saying that I love that you're doing that. And kind of that's my journey with that too. I need Black women to stop. I'm really taking I need y'all to stop taking side quests. I love it. Oh, okay. This was in 2 masters of strategic, not a side quest. Okay. Thank you. I'm not saying every degree is a side quest. Don't take it from that. I love that. Okay. You're like strategy. Yes. You're making the moves. Okay. And then Nancy said, I have an MHA and an MPH, and I'm constantly being asked, why did I pursue 2 masters and normally do not get the job? I was just talking to, I was literally on a call. I'm telling you all these clarity chats. Hey, Ladidra. And was like, oh, you're overqualified for this. And honestly, my honest thoughts is like, I know the rejection is a redirection thing is almost overused, but a lot of times, like, again, like, there's no reason why education should be a discount for Black women. And so then they'll just come up with any reason to discount the experience, right? Because there's no reason why having 2 master's degree would suddenly be for you to not get the job. And I feel like as soon as they ask that, it's a pretty good sign that that's not going to be a safe place for you to work. I say this to say, like, when I started my first job, I had my master's. I did a combined program, and I graduated with my bachelor's and my master's. My bachelor's was in psychology. My master's was in management, of course, because I told you, right, I was going down that IO psychology route. That's originally what I wanted to do. And it was always great where I had people like really excited about the master's program and found it impressive that I was in a master's program and that I did have a minor in innovation. And I think that a lot of times that excitement about the skills meant that I was going into a better workplace, right? And so I think, I always caution Black women against like minimizing their skills and experiences, because a lot of the times that's going to put us into a place where people are just threatened by us existing and by us being fabulous and being highly educated and being highly competent. It is triggering for them. It's triggering for them. Why? Systemic racism. Like, it is life. But yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm going to get back to work. Let me see. I'm going to learn that white women have all that we need. As a whole, we are the most educated. I'm beginning to learn have all that. Wait, are you saying WW white women? Charles said, very triggered. They are. As a whole, we are the most educated demographic. Okay, tell me if WW is white women. Because I know we got that triggering. Sorry, we got the censoring or whatever. So appreciate it, because LinkedIn is ghetto. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you know what? It's really interesting. I think one of the oddest experiences that I was facing when I was navigating an issue was when I felt like I was having a conversation with a white woman that was several levels ahead of me. Oh, okay. I was like, what am I doing with the video? Okay, Black women, we do have all that we need. Yep. I'm gonna circle back to that. So, since I was already telling this story, and it was like, there's no reason actually for you to be in competition for me. It's no reason for you to be experiencing. Oh, okay, got it. Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm catching up. But there's nothing that I should have been that was traumatized or triggering or cause you to feel insufficient about me, because you're already in the role, right? And there shouldn't be a competition for me. There shouldn't be a space where you're kind of comparing my experience with you. And it's so common that they automatically just think you're coming for their job. And I feel like it's basically insecurity of when all of that happens. But yeah, it is the higher education. It is the ability to overperform and be an overachiever. I said I was retiring that word, but that is what it kind of is with Black women. And I noticed that a lot of it is because they're kind of promoted when they haven't accomplished that. Like, I've accomplished it. You haven't. I see how this is setting us both up for failure. Okay. Charla on TikTok said, very, very triggering. Okay. But yes, we do have what we need. So to circle back to that, ooh. I love all the comments. Y'all are beautiful. Y'all are going in. This is the space that we need. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a big part of the mindset. And, especially from the beginning when I was talking about this idea of we're seeking that validation a lot of the times, but I think it's not just that we're seeking the validation in a silo, because a lot of the times we've just been taught that it's not enough, right? The not getting the promotion, the not getting hired with more qualifications, right? And I think even if we know those things exist for Black women, which I would say in the beginning of my career, I really just didn't. I didn't understand the dynamics. I do now. But it's kind of this dynamic of saying like, well, maybe they are right actually about that, right? And so we begin to doubt. And even if you don't necessarily doubt your skills, just being in that environment that's so draining or how you're treated, it's still hard to build the confidence and keep a positive mindset, even if you know the dynamics of what's happening. And yeah, it causes us to believe that, yeah, we don't have all that we do. We do, but it's hard. They really make it hard for us to be out here as good. You know what? If we didn't have all of that, if we didn't have people trying to humble us every day, what will we accomplish? Okay. And that's what I want that's what I want for us. So Rhonda said it's a double-edged sword. We have to overcompensate and not be threatening because we're very educated. Yeah. I don't know, Rhonda. I'm a little bit unhinged and I just want to I'm threaten everybody. I'll be honest. Like, I mean, there was a period of time. So I'll say like from in everything that I've done, whether that's, my educational background up to my first job, I chose never to shrink. I have just some very powerful women in my life who have always affirmed and taught me to be the best and to not shrink. And so it was very unnatural for me to shrink. And so I will say that in those roles, in most of my roles, I've chosen to expand. I don't care who I triggered. That's your issue or not. Like, I'm taking up space as a Black woman. And I had this dynamic where the management situation was so bad that I actually went into anxiety and depression. I talk about that a lot. And I did shrink because I was in the space of trying to cocoon. Like, it was so terrible that I was just trying to protect as much as my mental health. So much so that I would just come home and cry and not do anything. Oh my gosh, my coaching business was struggling. Okay. It was rough out here. I was still getting all of the things done, right? I was taking the balance, right? But I was really trying to make myself small in the shadow of another person, right? And when I left that role, all sorts of things, right, mental health wise, that in some ways, like, I'm still recovering. I'm much better, but still recovering from today. And I promised after that I would never shrink again, because I just want I never want to be in that situation. And I feel like if I'm in a place where I'm encouraging others to be okay with Black women being big, bold, outspoken, out there, authentically themselves, then that creates space for other Black women. So that's for me. So it is absolutely a double-edged sword. I completely understand the dynamics of not wanting to rock the boat, like, especially with the stability in the job market. I can say, like, I felt a level of stability with, with who I actually, you know what? That's not even true. When I was an intern, I used to be telling them directors and the CEO, whoever else, where to go. I feel like as I grew and I got a little bit more, aligned with what was, that kind of shifted for me. But then as I went through my career and I had my coaching business, I kind of was not as worried about saying what I need to say when I need to say it. Of course, professionally, in my opinion, professionalism, we're not going to go down that route. But yeah, I was like, take up space. Like, I know that there is a balance. Like, we do want to bring people along, especially if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, to be a good leader or manager or to provide an organization that's safe. But I'm going to take up space. Okay. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call you. I just didn't understand the driving. Be safe. Be safe. And I think this is Contrella said. I think it's a generational thing. Yeah, I definitely, like, I would have conversations with my grandmother, whom I love, who is definitely part of the unapologetic, authentic, tell it like it. I mean, I tell it like it is in a different way. Like, I want to speak truth, but I also am very particular in how I like to say things. It's a part of me. But my grandmother, she would say things to me about, things I was doing or saying, particularly in my social media content when I was kind of doing career coaching stuff, or, me showing up, however I chose to show up at work or things like that. And she'd be like, oh my gosh, you can't do that. Or that's not, that's not professional. And she always talks about me because I'll get on a video and the house will be a mess. I don't care. She's like, it's authentic, right? It's who I am. And so I feel like a lot of times, yeah, it is that generational pieces of, I feel like, the older generation had to assimilate to survive. I think we have a much different standing here where we can advocate for really what we want to see and who we want to be and all of the above. And I think, yeah, as Black women, we have the option to take up more space than the past generation did. Okay. Oh gosh. Yes. My past supervisor was a white woman who had the job, but was threatened by my confident, strong personality. Along came the pip. Yeah. And anyway, I tell this story. I usually don't tell this story on live just because not outing somebody. But yeah, I was in my first time where I had ever received negative feedback. And I feel like it did come from the person I was just describing about them being triggered by me and kind of what I was doing and accomplishing. And while I wasn't put on a PIP, because listen, your HR bestie is going to use every single piece of HR knowledge to say back up. Not too much on me. Not too much on me. I'm coming with you. I have been in HR for 8 years. I know how to use that experience. Anyway, so all of that said. But yes, do come to PIP, do come to performance issues, do become, you're not a culture fit, all of those things. Not for me. Yeah. And then Nancy said, I've been there now and again, this time no PIP, but we have to hang in there. Yep. And I really, and like, honestly, a Black woman, and I'm saying this for me as a Black woman, me in these workspaces, setting the boundary, pushing back, letting them know that this isn't acceptable, I think is a powerful thing. And so I know it feels really bad when we're having it. I was like, oh my gosh, I was having all sorts of anxiety attacks, but I was like, I'm having this conversation. What y'all not going to do is this. Okay. Like we're just not accepting it. So yeah, hang in there. I hope y'all are good. Okay. Also, okay. So the other thing, I'm going to go back because I know y'all can't see this on LinkedIn, but Charlotte said on TikTok a little while ago, I said, I blame influencers or people giving so many points of views. And yeah, I do think that happens when we're thinking about like all of the things, like there's an, right. I'm one of the people online giving advice, right? So I was like, I can't even say that. There are people giving bad advice. Hey, Shaq, welcome to the live. I don't know if I missed you before. I was just going. But there's a lot of information on there about people who want to position themselves in a particular way or be the quick pivot hack kind of thing. And my platform, what I talk about is never the hack. It's never the easy way to get it done. But I feel like we'll have like, you know what drives me insane? The career coaching people who will be like, just lie on the resume. Just lie on the resume. Or what you do to get through the ATS is just copy the whole job description to your resume, put it in white font and stick it on your resume. And I know, and those are just two out of like all of the different things. But it's like in reality, all of us are different. We all have different experiences. We all have different skills. We all have different things to bring to the proverbial table. And not like that, like, what are you bringing to the table? I mean, like, really who we are. And like those types. Oh, okay, Miss Sussex. Okay. It should be Mrs. Sussex. I don't know if that's your real name. Okay, because we know Megan been doing her thing. Megan Markle. Okay. But what I was gonna say is that, oh, I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? I don't remember. It's gone. Oh, okay. We're all different people, and the way that we bring our brands together and implement that in a resume and things like that is going to be different. And so I get all the point of view to how and why we're like rationalizing all of this experience and things like that out there. But at the end of the day, I think we know ourselves best. Okay. So be okay. Again, internal, not external. Okay. Woo! Y'all are going over here. Oh my gosh. I love it. Okay. My manager tried to put me. Wait. What? Wait. I clicked the wrong one because the comment. Okay, Regine. Okay, y'all are going off. Okay. I've assimilated for so long that I'm not entirely sure I'm being authentic half the time, but alas, I am who I am. You know, that was something that was a challenge for me because I was in higher education. So if you know higher education, there's a lot of like traditional nuance to how and why you do things. Like there's a lot of history that impacts why people do things today that maybe happened 20, 30 years ago. And that's what I noticed about higher education. And so in higher education, I had to always monitor every single thing that I was doing because the history there, and because they have the history, that history kind of follows you as you move forward. A lot of that workplace stress, now it wasn't a large part of it, but between that and the supervisory kind of situation that I was in, it ultimately led me to have like a lot of workplace stress that led to that anxiety. One thing that I really wanted to do leaving that is to ask myself, how do I really want to exist? What do I want to experience in the world in a way that I'm doing that now? And one of the things, I know this is kind of counterintuitive, but like, you know, we always have that dynamic of kind of just being asked to smile, right? Like, why do Black women have to be on and entertainment for you in the workplace? Why do we have to be the person that helps everyone? And is always willing to go the extra mile, like all of these really positive things. And so I found this dynamic where it was really hard for me to analyze how I was showing up, of like, am I showing up extra giggly and overly accommodating and really helpful because I've been conditioned to be that way as a Black woman, or is that really who I am? And the reality is that's really who I am. I've had to take away and saying, what is a people pleasing thing? Like, right? Like, how do I know what my boundaries are and whether I really wanted to do that? A lot of the times, the way that I figured that out was like whether or not I was being resentful of a thing or not. But overall, the way that I like to think about it is like, if I wasn't in this space, is this really how I naturally would want to show up? Or am I feeling pressured to show up by something that's happening? And I went on this journey because I was diagnosed with ADHD about 2 years ago. So I didn't understand at the time that a lot of that stress is because I was masking the ADHD symptoms in front of other people. So I had to just get comfortable saying like, oh, I won't remember that. Can you write it down? Right. It doesn't mean that I'm putting my work onto somebody else, but like how can I do things that really align with who I am? And so I had to start thinking about like, is this really a core part of my personality? If I was just existing, would I do the same thing? And that kind of helped me navigate. So yeah, same. But so going back to that, it's like, yeah, I do want to be the person that smiles at everybody. I love like other people feeling joy or the warmth that I am. The warmth that I am. Let's leave it at that. And so it was something for me where I was like, no, I don't think that's really what's happening. That's really what I want to be. And by people asking me to be outside of that, to take me out of their character because of their behavior, because they're triggered or whatever, is actually the issue in that. So yeah. And then they'd be like, why are you smiling? Oh, because I'm not smiling because you did this. That is hilarious. My manager tried to put me on a PIP and then she ended up on one and then got fired. That's hilarious. You know what's interesting about this? I don't know if you were still there, but I'm always having these conversations. Hey Femi, welcome to the live. But the interesting thing was that I'm totally off the live. We're just doing comments. We're just talking now, and that's good. But yeah, so I find that like they will put somebody on a PIP to blame them for the issue that they're causing, right? So if they didn't want to train you, they didn't want to set this up, and you're underperforming, quotation marks, as a result, then they'll be like, oh, well, we need to put you on a PIP to resolve this. Now that you've got on a PIP, successfully completed the PIP, everything is documented, they don't have anybody else to blame because they've now submitted the documentation that you're performing as you should, or they had to put those things into writing about what actually happened. Like, and that's wild to me because you actually played that card in yourself, because now you can't blame me. Right now you can't blame me. It's just you. And so a lot of times when people are removed, like certain people, and it's usually Black women, are removed by being the issue. Oh, I hate to purpose minded. That's my mom. Hey, mommy, you're late. You're actually a whole hour late. You're always late. So late. No, if you were on the webinar, one of my Black woman Bliss webinars, I'm always yelling at her about being late. But thank you for coming. Love you. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, and so then when that Black woman is out of the way, they fired them or terminated, it usually comes back to bite them. I had that happen where there was a supervisor who would never follow my recruitment rules. And then he would go and yell and say, oh, Mercedes isn't doing this, Mercedes isn't doing that. And I was like, no, here's the documentation that we talked about. So then I had to start documenting things that was going on with me and what he was asking for, what he was doing. Oh, I'm glad you were exercising. She said exercising. That's good. I didn't exercise today, but that's okay. My whole body hurts from, I think, 4 straight days of Supernatural. So if you don't know, I'm a Supernatural girly. I've been meaning to post my little video from yesterday because they had a Megan Thee Stallion, Saweetie, Cardi B, and Nicki Minaj one all in the same thing. And it was the flow, the little saber thing. I was happy yesterday doing Beat Saber. Okay, anyway, not Beat Saber, Supernatural. Okay, yeah. Anyway, it's a VR exercise. I love it. I'm not excited about paying Meta for it. I'm not excited about that, but I love it. Okay, I'm totally off track. But anyway, a lot of times that will happen and they won't have anyone to excuse. That'll be an issue, and then they're in trouble after that happens. Whew, okay. Ooh, okay. Nancy said, I agree. I've started setting boundaries and peace of mind and morals on the job or non. Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. And patient care. I'm preaching. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's true. I think about it. I know HR gets like a lot of crap about HR being about, being about the company, not caring about employees. But one thing about me is I chose HR because I wanted the workplace to be a better place. That, if you ever ask me, that's why I chose HR. I wanted it to be a better place. That's why I loved IO psychology. I love the research. I love the applied elements of that. That's what I wanted to do. And so when I told you all that I didn't shrink in the workplace, and I will say this, even though I was shrinking kind of in the shadow when I was talking to you about that like toxic supervisor, there was never a day where I was going to allow that person or that organization to do something that I felt didn't align with my values, or I thought was inequitable, right? And if they were going to do it, they were at least going to hear from me before they did it. And so I think that's why it was easier for me to be okay setting the boundaries that I needed to, because I knew that they were based on this is my rights. This is how we all get to exist in the workplace. Like, I'm not just setting this boundary with you for me. I'm setting this for everybody else who needs to set a boundary, right? And like, let's talk about this. So I would have times where like supervisors would be, I think one of the most challenging conversations that I had was about cutting benefits and how we were going to, the displacement of those benefits into employees and whatnot. And I had to fight to say, well, if we're going to do this, we're displacing these benefits. You got to do something with compensation. Like, we can't do this. This isn't the right thing to do. This isn't what you promised or told employees. And I think me kind of starting off my career with, I'll go to bat with you. I will fight for employees with you, meant that everything that I did wasn't really for myself. It was for the kind of the collective. And of course, like in this case, right, like it's part of my journey to coaching Black women. But ultimately, like, that equity. And I think that's what kind of got me to really be wanting to move into diversity, equity, inclusion, right? Yeah, it's really ingrained in me. So yeah, set those boundaries for yourself and everybody else. They did our parents so wrong. They really did. They really did. They did my grandma wrong. All right. And so I've got, I've got a cushion enough, I've got a voice enough, a platform enough to tell them what they did. Okay. I think we've been off track for about, thank you for the gifts on TikTok. Hi. Okay, so I know I'm off track. I have one more topic before I'm going to talk about more of the full philosophy and mindset of an advancing Black women. And then, of course, if y'all have any questions, y'all can let me know. Oh, why are you frowning? My mom's frowning at me. Oh, B said I had to learn how to set boundaries as an actress too. Not as an actress. I feel, I know that there are not a lot of safe spaces in terms of industries for Black women, but I feel like that one's got to be very trying, because especially when you see like how like, our icons that are famous, we got the Taraji always talking about the inequities, right? Viola Davis, like, our giants in acting, and they get tried. So I don't even want to know what that looks like if you're not famous. If you're not one of our giants. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to talk about is the something to prove mindset. And it has to do with that validation that's external. But a lot of the times we go into the workplace where people are asking for us to prove it to them. And so as a result, we often feel unworthy, or we're led to believe that that's the case. And so this is what I want you, this is the shift, right? Going from saying I have something to prove to get to where I am versus feeling like you already have it. So that very much connects to what Regina was saying earlier about saying, I already know that I have everything that it takes. The fact that this individual around me, my supervisor, maybe even somebody that I'm interviewing with, is digging into my experience, invalidating my work, invalidating what I've accomplished, discounting the 2 degrees, okay, often means that they want to put you in a dynamic that you have to prove yourself, right? And that's never a dynamic that we want to be in, because we're going to constantly be proving ourselves, and it's kind of going to run us to the ground, because as soon as we prove ourselves in one way, they're going to move it, right? And so my guidance to you is to not feel that you have to prove yourself. Be worthy as you are. Show up as you are. And if somebody's asking you to prove yourself, it often means that they aren't really willing to see you. It means that they've already discounted on whatever. They've already discounted you and has you as you are, right? So don't allow that supervisor to test you. Don't allow that that interview panel to test you, to invalidate your experiences. Understand that on the other side of that, like, they very much have something to prove to you. What makes me know that you would be a supervisor, and I'm talking to whoever, right? The Black woman supervisor. What is it that you can provide me to let me know that you're a supervisor that I want to work with, right? And I've had some amazing supervisors that I would, yeah, we ride in, okay? Ride or die supervisors, love them down. And I've had ones that aren't, right? And there was never a time that I had to, quote unquote, prove myself to those supervisors, right? The ones that I couldn't trust, that didn't have my well-being, that weren't looking out for me, those were the ones, okay? That I truly had to prove something to. And I think when we're in that dynamic, it creates that unbalance that, one, allows us to continue to degrade our sense of self-worth, but ultimately how we're advancing or moving forward. So yeah, so let me know if you feel like there's been like a dynamic, and whether or not somebody has made you have to prove yourself, right? And if that has impacted like your ability to move forward. Because if we got to prove ourselves, we're not moving. Okay. All right. So we're getting close to the end. Your girl can talk. Okay. And then after this, I'm going to go talk some more because I have group coaching in the Career Love community. So if you're on, I'll see y'all in a minute, loves. Okay. So philosophy. So this last part is, we talked about all these mindset shifts. If you've just joined, a lot of these are in this journal. You can get it for free on my website or my link in my bio, wherever you are, to sign up to get the digital copy, or you can get the printed copy if you want. But if I were to say, if I summed up like this philosophy of what the mindset of an advancing woman, this is what I would say. So the first one is seeking solutions, right? A lot of times, hey, Miss Natasha and Marie, welcome in. So a lot of the times we are finding solutions for everything else, right? We are the problem solvers of the workplace. We are the the job done no matter what. I want you to take the effort that you would put into place to figure out however to get a project done for an organization, your boss, your supervisor, your job is on the line. I want you to take that same energy. I want you to put it in yourself. What is it, after I'm clear, what is it that I need to do to get it done? That is a different idea and a different way of thinking at your job search, right? Because when we're not thinking that way, it's like we're looking at all the reasons why we can't. And so that solutions-oriented demeanor means that we continue to problem solve on that ATS compliant resume. It means that we can continue to apply, really trying to shift and change how we're viewing ourselves, all of the things. The second one is that you center yourself in your decisions, right? You understand what is in, and this is kind of the second part. Maybe these are all the same. Anyway, but you center yourself in your decision. So you're not looking at what your partner wants, what society has asked you, what's capable for Black women, because we all have these toxic jobs. Center the purpose and the passion too, right? And not just saying like, oh, okay, well, I can't really get paid to do what I love, right? So asking yourself what it is that you really want to do is one of the most important things. One of the questions that I asked on my clarity chat, I kind of reword it every once in a while, but I say, if you could just kind of wave a magic wand and you could be in any job or career or field that you really wanted to be in, what would that be? Right. And I think when we kind of talk about it from this magical way, it kind of opens up that barrier that we have on ourselves from all those societal expectations, right? Because a dream doesn't usually have those, right? Because usually those societal expectations are everything that's telling us that we can't, or that we won't, or not possible. So think about it that way. 3 is focus on internal locus of control. So what I find, again, is like what I was saying is like we look at the job market, we look at the employers, what they're doing, what they're not doing, and we allow that to impact our decisions. But what we are capable of is, again, moving forward, figuring out what is on our resume, getting a good brand, talking about our skill set, maybe even doing some professional development. That's not a side quest, okay? Internal focus on what you can do to advance your career, right? What job can I have? Where can I go? What can I apply? What can I do? You. Okay. The fourth one is a little bit delulu, but honestly, it really helps. It helps me. It's absolutely something that I do. And to believe that everything that you're working towards is inevitable, right? And I think this really connects to that rejection is redirection, right? One of the things that I talk about And I got my little journal. Oh, where's my little journal? My mom might complain because she said this is her journal, but I picked this up because it's like, anyways, has a scripture. I know the plans I have for you. And I don't think about what I'm doing in my career from a standpoint of saying, that my mom's, I knew I was waiting for her comment. I was actually looking for it. If you saw my pause, she's like, okay, thanks. I love it. This is my journal. I already wrote in it. You can't have it. Thanos. You think you gonna snap this back so you can go pick it up from Ross instead? Or was I in Burlington? I don't know. Where was I? TJ Maxx. Oh, I was in TJ Maxx because that one was approved. Anyway, so I think about it as this sense of like, what's in me is already destined. What's in me has already been written. What's in me, I've already been called and asked to walk. Oh. Okay, I thought you were talking trash about the journal. Yes, my mom said everything is inevitable, right? Eventually it's going to happen. I don't care. You can't have the journal. But everything that is already in me was already destined. That's how I feel about it. If I wasn't meant to be passionate about HR, it wouldn't be in me. Like if I wasn't meant to be in HR, it wouldn't be in me. If I wasn't meant to do diversity, equity, and inclusion, it wouldn't be in me. Yes, Nancy, Jeremiah 29:11. Yes. If I wasn't meant to have this career coaching business for Black women, it wouldn't be in me as a driver. And so I think everything that we're set to do, we were designed uniquely to do that. That is how I talk about us moving forward in our career, living this ideal life in our Black Women Bliss era, and all of the things. So if you leave this webinar with nothing, or it's not a webinar, it's live with nothing else, I just want you to believe that whatever it is you're working toward, it's inevitable because it's in you. Okay, there we go. And then the last thing is the mindset that helps you kind of move forward is to focus on identifying evidence. So a lot of us, when we're not moving forward, Mom said, come on, say that. You're usually the one preaching, but I'm preaching tonight. But what I would say is, when we're not comfortable about moving forward, when we're not sure whether we can get that promotion, when we're not sure whether our resume is written appropriately, when we're not sure if there could really be a positive environment for us, we haven't taken time to support a belief or discredit a belief based on the real evidence that happens. And so when I was pivoting from human resources to diversity, equity, inclusion, I wasn't really sure I was going to be able to do that. I wasn't sure if I had all the right experience. I wasn't sure if I had enough projects or programs. But often when we're able to say, hey, I did do that project and I did diversify this and I did teach about equity and I did do this program, that's the evidence that we need a lot of times to take that action, right? And also it kind of uniquely positions us because we all will create different types of evidence based on what's true about our purpose and our passion, right? And so for me, my evidence was saying, oh my gosh, I've hired so many diverse candidates. I've hired so many diverse people. People really feel like I create an inclusive environment. I can talk about that, right? And that evidence, of course, is really deeply connected to who I am and why I show up and why I do what I do. Hey, designated internet auntie. Oh, that's a good name. I love it when people scroll in the live and they have hilarious names. Designated internet auntie. Welcome in. Okay. So all of this being said, I want you to find the evidence. This also helps you find the evidence. But as I move on from this, I want to kind of close in kind of some intention setting. That's always what I love doing. I love setting the intention of what we're doing next, that action-oriented, solution-oriented kind of way, in a woo-woo kind of way. So before we close out this live, of course, if you have any questions for me, I have more time. My group coaching doesn't start until 6. But I want to know, like, what philosophy have you learned today that you're going to focus on in this next month? Is it mindset? It's all mindset really, but is it working on, building confidence around your brand, right? Building a mindset that says I can do that. Maybe it's saying, how can I refocus on what's in my internal locus of control of what I can do in my job search? Maybe it is more thinking about, how do I center myself in this experience that I have, right? Like, how can I say, what is it that I really want to experience and do and be? That's the goal. So let me know in the comments what you're thinking. I will pause. I really am going to wait, and I'm going to take a sip of coffee. because I want each of you to kind of set that intention. So I'm waiting. What element or philosophy have you learned today that you want to move forward with? So as we're doing that, I'm waiting for any questions. If you're here and you're like, I really need to refocus on this. Oh, hey, ADHD babe. How are you? It's good to see you. We got multiple ADHD girlies on the call. I don't want to say I attract the ADHD girlies, but I think it's happening. Or there's just a lot of us, a lot more out there. And all of us are late diagnosed. You know, we be struggling out here trying to get the mental health resources that we need as Black women. But hey. So all of that being said, if you're here today, you're like, yes, you do. It's another one. B, did you tell me this already? I love it for us. Community of the ADHD vibes. That's probably why you're okay with me being like, oh, what did they say? I don't know. Okay, but sorry, in close, if you're here and you really want to work on your career, work on your mindset, really make big shifts, I would recommend to schedule a call. So I do one-on-one career coaching where we really get in and talk about like what are the mindset shifts? What are the things that are challenging you to move forward? Why aren't you confident in that brand? What is the true next step that's in alignment with what you really want? I really think that sometimes when we're in those spaces, it's hard to move through that mindset shift independently. And while, of course, I have this journal for the girlies that are like, yes, but if not, and you're like, I really would love some guidance on getting clear. I would really like to understand how career coaching can kind of develop and help me grow. I would highly recommend to schedule a call. So if you were on TikTok and you want to schedule a career clarity chat, also the career clarity chats are free. But I also share of things that if it makes sense based on that call and like career coaching would be helpful for you, we kind of talk about what might make sense. But I will type I think it only will share the link on YouTube for my career clarity chat. But for the girlies on LinkedIn, if you go to my profile, there's a hyperlink right at the top and it says schedule a clarity chat and you can schedule it for a time that works. They're not pressure, right? If coaching makes sense for you, we talk about that. But if it doesn't make sense, that's all good. I love connecting and getting to know each of you all so you can do that. If you're on like a desktop and you're not on your phone or whatever, you can use the QR code up here to go directly to my scheduling page to schedule some time to chat. But either way, this has been really great. Okay, I finally see the notes coming in about where you are. Okay, so yeah, if you have any questions about the clarity chat or anything like that or anything else that I've shared, like let me know, but I'm going to read through. So we have from Tammy that says definitely mindset, boundaries, and being being intentional about my circle of friends. Thanks for having tonight. Oh, Nancy, and you are now friends. Yes. If there's nothing else that I get from doing these lives, the community, I love that community is being built and connections are being built. So yay, vibes. Yes. Okay. Circle of friends. Yeah, I talk about I have this mastermind group. My mom's in it, and I have a couple of friends. Some of them are new, like business. Some of them are previous coaching clients. And it's really good to kind of create that safe space for like, yes, moving forward and momentum and the accountability, but also just to have somebody to talk to, right? To encourage you to be intentional about that circle of friends and who you want to spend time with, as those individuals are the circle of us. Yes. Okay. And then Nancy said, most definitely mindset, to know that I'm not the only one going through this mindset syndrome. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're all together. And I would say, like, I wish that they would be a little bit more creative and not just all have the same playbook, but it's really, really, really common and specific. They do it a lot. Okay. And Regine said, be confident in myself, refocus on strategy. I have to run, but I sent you connection request. This is super valuable. Oh, thank you. I know you're probably gone now, but thank you for joining. Your comments and your engagement has been all of the things amazing. And I really love that we have this space. So thank you. This was lovely. Your comments were lovely. You were engaged. So yeah, I'm excited. So To wrap this up, I was doing lives every single day at 6. I think it's way too many. So I might do one or two each week, but usually they'll be at 6. So this is kind of my regular clock out. So if you want to follow and like and share so that this can get sent out to more Black women. But also, if you want to connect with me, absolutely feel welcome to do that so you can get notified of my upcoming lives and webinars. But this was really great. I had so much fun with this conversation. Fun in like, a healing community-based kind of way, because I know anytime I'm talking about this and mindset, we talk about kind of the workplace trauma and otherwise that we experience. So all of that being said, love y'all bad. I will see you for the next stream of the clock out. Stay connected. And of course, if you want to schedule that call, you know where to go. You can reach out, send me a message, or schedule directly on my website. I will see y'all later. Love y'all. Bye.